Hello, my name is Chidimma Ibemere. I'm an education advocate. I'd love to use this great opportunity to thank the Impact Field Leadership Institute for the great privilege to share my thoughts on bold leadership. I'd like to apologize for not being physically present. Kindly bear with me, and I hope I am forgiven. But I hope this session inspires your journey as a leader, and I hope I'm able to answer questions on how to lead from a place of courage. Please feel free to reach out to me through the organizers. If you need clarity on anything or any point I have raised, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I'm more than willing to share my thoughts or help with clarity, because together I believe that we can change the narrative for good. Before I go into sharing details on what I think the qualities of a good leader should be, I'd like to start with a conversation Jesus had with his disciples. So in the Holy Bible, we see a moment where the disciples asked Jesus who he thinks the greatest in the kingdom of God is. And to their shock, he said, whoever would become great must first be a servant. And I feel this is a totally different thing from what we see in our society today. We're in a world where leadership is almost like a means of exerting dominance, exerting power over those who are being led. And to be honest, such form of leadership always leads to chaos. It helps to create a form of disintegration to whatever goals have been set. And I genuinely do not want anyone who is part of this session to be in that system. I want to believe strongly that this is a session that would help you rethink, amend, or drop ways that do not help in the grand scheme of things in your position as a leader. I believe that without the tag of leadership, everybody has the potential to lead. You may necessarily not have the opportunity to, maybe get into a position of appointment or election, to have a particular portfolio to oversee projects or oversee a certain group of people. But in your little spaces, there is a potential that you are leading something. It could be in the things you do in your family. It could just be even in the minute things. You have the potential to lead. You may not necessarily have that portfolio, but there is something entrusted in your care that you oversee, and then there's also something people have to look up to you for. It just works anyways. So I want to let you know that for everyone listening to me, this message is for you. Do not zone out and feel it is for the people who have a position. You have the potential to lead, and you have been leading or you have led at some point in your life. So this is actually very helpful to you. Now I'm going to start with sharing what I think the qualities of a good leader or a bold leader should be. First of all, as a leader, regardless of the portfolio, regardless of where you find yourself, it's important that you understand that you are the signpost of the visions and missions of whatever organization or project you are a part of. So when people see you, when you're in charge of a particular project or you're in charge of a particular organization or a group of people or any initiative whatsoever, when people meet you, you are supposed to be like a representative, a working representative of the goals, of the vision, of the mission of the organization you are serving or of the need you are trying to meet. As a leader, you are supposed to be knowledgeable. You're supposed to understand what you are leading. You're supposed to understand the portfolio you carry. You're supposed to understand why you are in that position, because you are like the ambassador. When people want to, maybe for instance, if you want to talk about Mavin Records, the popular Nigerian music record group, when you want to say who is the leader, yes, they may have different board board members or board of trustees, but there's one person who comes to mind, and that is Don Jazzy. When you see Don Jazzy, most people don't even know his biological name or his government's name. People just know him as Don Jazzy because he's a representative of the Maven Records. And that is how it is supposed to be. You are the working post. Everything about where you serve or what you are leading should be seen in you. You should be knowledgeable. You shouldn't be a half-baked leader, someone who does not know what he's serving, you don't have like a full knowledge of the vision, the mission, or the goals or the objectives of your initiative or whatever it is that is in your care. You are that representative. So the first thing you have to know as an individual or someone who aspires to lead in any capacity is for you to understand that you are a custodian of the goals. You are a custodian of the mission. You must be knowledgeable. You must have an idea of what it is you are leading, those you are leading to a large extent. Because when people see you, you are a reflection of what you are serving. So it's important that you have this at the back of your mind as a leader. Another important thing you should understand is the issue of power. You are not a leader to exert power over people. I mean, not in a form of oppressive manner. Yes, there are times where you are supposed to be very, very articulate or objective in your decisions. However, it's more about power with those you serve and not power over those you serve. When you create that power tussle or power gap, you will lose out from ideas from your followers. So it's not an opportunity for you to prove to people that you have arrived. No, it's an opportunity for you to work with people hand in hand on this level and not on this level. When it is on this level, there is a gap. And to close this gap, you need to, there are skills you need to bring together, to close the gap. In as much as we are working towards collaboration, there's also a place for you to be firm and, fierce with, protecting the portfolio you carry. However, ensure that you are leading from a place of collaboration. You are leading from a place of partnership and not from a place of power positionality. Because when power is abused, to be very honest, it becomes a problem to meet the set targets. So please, as 21st century leaders, let us encourage ourselves to lead from a place of collaboration. You are partnering with people to achieve the set goals. Being a leader is a privilege, especially when the position is spelled out. Remember, I said we all have the capacity to lead. We all have the potentials to lead. However, there are times where it becomes very clear that this person is the one in charge of this project or in charge of this portfolio. Ensure that you are not exerting force on people. Rather, you are working collaboratively with them to ensure that you meet the set targets. Another point I actually raised here as a quality of a bold leader is to be accountable. We see in our world, even in our relationships with our siblings, or if you are a parent, your relationship with your children, there's always this very strange behavior of, if an adult offends a younger person, now, instead of you to take responsibility for your actions, you try to go around the matter. Maybe you say, come and eat food, or I've put chicken in your food, or just one very flimsy thing, to ensure that you don't present yourself as a weak person. If you are going to be an effective leader in the 21st century, a leader who is bold, a leader who is demanding actions, you must learn to be accountable. You must embrace accountability. It's not always good for one to present himself or herself as the person who is always excited to point out faults from other people. But when you are found wanting, it becomes a problem. You remember that you are a leader. you raise your shoulders. No, accountability is important. This means when you are asking people to do what they are supposed to do at the right time, you should also get ready to be held accountable, to be asked questions if you have, deviated, to be found once, like to take responsibility rather when you are found wanting. Let it not be a situation where, oh, I'm the leader, nobody talks to me. No, you are going to fail. You are going to fail if that is your orientation. So I want to encourage you, please, if you are a leader, when you do something wrong and it is spelled out that you have done something wrong, please don't go around the bush to start acting up or being unnecessarily nice. Take responsibility and say, I am sorry. Don't say, oh, there are situations where you say, is that why you people are angry? Is that why you people are angry? Oh yeah, take sorry. No, that is rude. Say you are sorry. I am sorry. It doesn't cost you anything because we are all humans. We have the tendency, like there's always a high chance of us having, failings. Like we make mistakes. We do a lot of wrong things. So when you are found wanting as a leader, please take responsibility and apologize sincerely. Don't let it be that it is only those you serve, those you lead, that must say sorry. But when the situation comes to you, sorry becomes alien. No, please, let us try to do better as leaders. Another thing I feel that's important for us as leaders, it's for us to lead or understand that courage is important. See, anytime you hear someone say to you, be courageous, it means that the journey is not smooth. The journey is not easy. So you must understand that courage is a skill you must harness. If you are the type that is easily, taken aback, or you are just surprised or shocked when situations come to hit your organization or even in your personal life, and then you just give up easily. No, life is not for the easy. Life is for, life is, my friend says, life does not give you what you deserve, but what you demand from it. And demanding from it means being courageous. Life would always treat us, unfairly. It is just what it is. But we need to be very firm. We need to be strong. We need to be courageous. You can't say you want to lead a group of people and at the end of the day, any little shock or any little thing, you give up and you say, oh, you no longer want to lead. No, that is totally unacceptable. Courage is a skill you must be able to get on yourself. Now, I'd like to share a quick story from the Bible. In the book of Numbers, it was time for the children of Israel to go into the promised land. And God told Moses that it was important for him to pick leaders from each of the tribes so that they would go into the promised land to spy on it. Moses was able to select 12 leaders, and he gave them instructions such as find out if the community is fenced, if it has good fruits, if it's a good land, if it's a fortified city, different instructions. And I think there were about 8 instructions, and then the last instruction was be of good courage. Now, maybe they did not think that being of good courage was an instruction, but if you know the story very well, you'll find out that on getting there, they realized that, oh, this city is fortified, these people live there, these communities are close to the promised land. Or we were even able to get a pole of pomegranate, and 2 people had to carry 1 pole to show how good the fruits of the lands are. They were able to tick everything from that to-do list. However, when it got to the part of fulfilling the courage situation, what happened? They said, oh, we have seen that there are the people of the children of Anak, the giants, and we're not able to occupy the place. Joshua and Caleb came up to them to say, you know what? The protection of God has left these people. We can do this. But they said, no, we're like grasshoppers in their eyes, and the land can swallow us. And in my head, I'm thinking, you spied on the land for 40 days and 40 nights. The land did not swallow you. you had the chance to even pick fruits. You know how big a fruit a fruit pole is that two people had to carry it. Then this land did not swallow you, nothing happened to you. Then all of a sudden, time for you to occupy, to take what belongs to you. You are saying you were like grasshoppers in their sight because of lack of courage, because of not understanding that courage is an instruction, courage is a skill that needs to be harnessed. They were able to they missed the opportunity to get into the promised land as at the time God designed it for them. So why did I share this story? You may be taking off things, as a leader, when they say, oh, we can hold him accountable, very good. He has integrity, very good. He's humble, he's this, he's that, very, very good. But the point where it is time for you to have courage, it becomes a problem. So please, courage is a skill you must gather because life will not always be fair. Life will throw things at you, but you need to stand firm in your convictions as a leader and weather the storm to lead other people through that process or through that season and emerge victoriously. I hope I'm making you happy. Another point I would also like to share is about empathy. It's so easy for us to be in a place of privilege and then we feel that, anything we say has to happen that way. No, we need to put ourselves in the shoes of those we serve. Maybe they don't meet up with deadlines or whatever it is that may be like a restriction to achieving your set targets. It's important that you empathize, you understand what the situation is with those you follow, or sorry, with those you lead in order to reach a conclusion. Do not be hasty to say, oh, this person is irresponsible. A lot of people may be going through their personal problems and still have to show up, to work. They still have to show up to your programs or events despite what they are going through. And at this point, you must ensure that empathy takes charge. If someone who has been delivering on targets, suddenly begins to decline, it's your responsibility as a leader to find out what the problem is. I'm not saying you should entertain laziness or, people who have a track record of not meeting targets. No, I'm saying for people, even if with those who are not meeting targets, it's important empathy takes place as well as emotional and intelligence for you to decide on the action to take. Because it's important you make decisions based on evidence and not based on emotions so that you will not find yourself in a very tight corner. So my advice would be engage empathy, engage emotional intelligence in your relationship with those you lead. Then another important thing I have to share is about humility. That you are selfless does not take away your position as a leader. That you are humble, that you are able to communicate, have fun with those you lead and not be stern or frowning or, a lot of people come up with so many leadership traits that gets me confused. But we are going to be the better generation, please. Humility does not diminish the strength of your leadership. No, it doesn't. So embrace leadership with humility. Listen to people. It shouldn't always be about you. Your ideas may be noble or novel or beautiful, but always ensure that you hear people too, because it doesn't make sense that you are only speaking and you are the only person who is listening. I know I'm guilty because I'm talking to myself right now, but I believe you understand what I'm saying. It shouldn't always be about you. Create space to hear people out and hear them out genuinely, not because you want to take off, leadership quality. Did you hear your followers today? You say, yes, I heard them, but you didn't pay attention. You have to listen and listen attentively. When they come to you with ideas, it's important you engage, show concern that you are really interested in what they are bringing to the table. Don't let it always be about you. Because you, when the odds are, when the chips are down, or how do they say it? Honestly, you will not be happy with how these people will leave you. Humility is key. Humility makes you stand before people. Humility gives you favor before people. You don't have to raise your shoulders for people to know that you have arrived. No, you can be humble and still do your thing. I mean, we all know a Nigerian leader who everybody has access to. It's not because he's the most eligible candidate to be at the top. He's had certificates from Ivy League schools across the world. He's a reputable individual, but you can still see that element of humility, which is not forced. It is just who he is. So I'd encourage us to be humble. Don't raise your shoulder up. When people come to you to ask you for help, please be kind enough to say yes, if it's in your capacity to do so. Don't always be like, I can't do this. I do know who I am. You are just who you are. You're just who you are. Don't do more than yourself, like my people will say. So please, I'm encouraging us, be kind to people. It does not cost you anything. Engage with people, communicate with people, hear people out, and you see that you become an amazing leader. People would always want you to be in a place of power. Anywhere they see you, they're like, oh no, this person has qualities. Do you think it's easy when you go for events and they say who is going to lead a team presentation and everybody points at you? You didn't have to do a campaign, to be selected. It's just there's a quality in your interactions with people, the way you regard people, the way you talk to people. People are taking notes. People want to be seen. People want to be heard. People want to feel that they are valued. And it's in your place as a leader to ensure that people are seen, regardless of who they are, where they come from, their religious affiliations. Just hear people out. And I think that would really go a long way in making you stand out. I'm almost wrapping up my session, so please bear with me. Then another thing I also want to add to everything I'm saying is that it's important that as leaders, you are authentic. Apart from being authentic, people can vouch for you. Don't be that kind of person who causes discord among followers. Maybe you have a clique of, apart from your maybe co-leaders, you have another clique where you are doing a lot of things. You're just in a world of your own, causing so much harm on the mission and vision of your initiative or your program or your workplace. Please, I'm begging, be authentic. Let your yes be your yes. And if you're not sure of something, you don't have to respond. You can say, I can work on this later. We want leaders who are mannered, who are knowledgeable, who have understanding that they have human frailties and are able to become better. We don't want people who are fraudsters. I am, maybe they'll say you are a leader, or especially people, you want to do your CV, you lie about everything in this world. I can speak French. So when they now decide that, okay, it's time for you to speak French, the only thing you can say is Je suis Nigerian, or you say Je m'appelle Chidimma. That's the only French. But in your CV, say proficient in this. Your leadership should reflect authenticity, even in your CV. Even in your CV, at least let people know when you write things that you've done. Let people see that you are capable of doing it. Right? Don't always be about inflating things. So you can deceive people in a short term, but in the long run you'll be found out. And we really don't want change makers or leaders that way. We have ChatGPT. ChatGPT is for you to use, to harness what you already have. It is not an opportunity for you to just copy and paste and not think through. Because I've seen that most leaders don't have critical thinking. You are just all about, give me everything on a platter of gold. No, 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 no. You have to think critically. You have to be able to stand up for what you believe in, stand up on your convictions, as long as they are not in any way tampering with the purpose for which you are being called a leader. Even if you're the only one standing, let your convictions be based on evidence, not based on emotions. It's very, very important. And I believe that if we're able to pick these things that I've shared so far, it would go a long way in making us better people. We are all on a learning journey. Coming for this program is an indication that you want to be a better person. And to be honest, I'm so proud of you. But I want you to go back to rethink your ways of leading. Rethink the ways you've collaborated with people in the past. Your group projects, how have you exerted power? How even in there are different ways that people act, and you begin to question that, is everything okay at home? And we don't want that for ourselves, because Nigeria now, we need people who are bold, people who are courageous to stand firm for justice, who are courageous to stand firm even in the midst of oppression, because this is just the point where we are at. We don't need people who are undecisive, people who are afraid to stand up, any little shock, they will run to the back. No, we want people who are bold. And to be bold means you have to also take in any point or any form of correction that has been issued out to ensure you are held accountable. I hope with these few points of mine, I've been able to re-emphasize what every other speaker will say or has said. And if you have any questions, please don't feel to reach out to me. Thank you and have an amazing time.